Today, I want to tell you 3 stories from my life. That's it. No big deal. Just 3 stories.
It's not about fancy words or cliches. It's about real-life experiences and how they shape who we are. A speech that teaches you to trust your own path, to believe that what seems like the end might just be the beginning of something bigger. A speech that challenges us to follow our hearts and reminds us of what truly matters. The most powerful speech you've ever heard is right here, and it'll make you think. Are you truly following what matters? Stick with me to find out. Have you ever stopped to think that we can't always see the path ahead? Sometimes you need to take a step back and trust that things will fall into place. Steve Jobs shared an incredible story about dropping out of college. The decision seemed risky, but it was what led him to follow his instinct and learn what truly interested him. And that's exactly what you need to understand. We can't predict the future, but we can trust that later on, we'll connect the dots. By dropping out of school, Jobs took an unconventional route. He pursued a personal passion, and in the end, it led him to create something that would change the tech world forever. And the most amazing part is that he studied something completely outside of his field, calligraphy. It might seem pointless, but that passion was key to the design of the first Macintosh. Imagine if he had followed the traditional path. Sometimes, what seems like a waste of time ends up becoming one of the biggest advantages of our lives. The secret is trust. It may seem impossible to understand the importance of something in the moment, but later on, you'll realize how that point made all the difference. How many times have you thought about quitting something that seemed pointless, only to find out it was crucial for your journey? That's the point. Every decision, every choice, even if it feels strange or out of place, could be crucial in the future. What do you think about that? So, remember, you may not understand it all right now, but if you trust yourself, you'll see that everything has a reason. Everything falls into place. The future is shaped by the decisions we make today. And even though the path may seem uncertain, it will always make sense later. Now, let's talk about a moment in life that can be devastating, but at the same time, incredibly liberating. Loss. Jobs was kicked out of his own company, Apple, one of the biggest falls someone can have. He said that, at first, he felt defeated. How did this happen? How could the founder of Apple be kicked out of his own empire? The answer lies in a twist within Apple that few could have predicted. Jobs, the guy who started the company in his parents' garage and turned Apple into a giant, found himself in a clash with the very people he trusted most. It all began when he hired an executive, John Sculley, a business visionary. In the beginning, it seemed like a perfect partnership until their visions for Apple's future started to clash. Jobs wanted to take the company in a bold, innovative direction, while Sculley wanted something more traditional and stable. And then the unimaginable happened. The Apple board, which had always supported Jobs, decided to side with Sculley and pushed him out of the company. Imagine the impact of that. The guy who made Apple what it was went from hero to villain in the blink of an eye. It was a public humiliation for Jobs, someone who had dedicated his life to the Apple dream. But instead of sinking into the pain and failure, he did the opposite. He used that fall to fuel a new drive in his life. He didn't let what happened define him and found an opportunity to restart. That's when he went on to found 2 new companies, Next and Pixar. This wasn't just a change in direction. It was what unlocked the creativity that still defines Apple today. It was through that pain, that loss, that Jobs was able to innovate in a way he never would have if he'd stayed at Apple. Sometimes, life pushes us out of our comfort zone, and that's where the best ideas and the greatest successes come from. So, if you haven't found that yet, don't despair. Jobs himself went through a lot of struggles before finding his true passion. And remember, the most important thing is to stay strong and believe that the love for what you do will take you farther than any obstacle. Now, let's dive into the most profound and philosophical part of Jobs' speech, death. It's not an easy subject, but he brings a perspective that few have the courage to face. Jobs talks about looking at death every day as a way to remind yourself of what truly matters. Sounds dark? Yeah, But he says that death is what forces us to focus on what's worth it. He shared a thought that changed his life and could change yours too. If you live each day as if it were your last, one day you'll be right. That doesn't mean we should live in fear of death, but with urgency. How many days have you spent procrastinating, not doing what you truly want or need to do? How many times have you put off your dreams? Death reminds us of our limits and gives us the clarity we need to make decisions. When you realize your journey is limited, you start seeing things through different eyes. Job shows us that instead of fearing death, we should use it as a guide to live fully. The question is, are you making the most of the time you have? Are you living as if each day were your last? So, when you wake up, ask yourself, if today were the last day of my life, would I be happy with what I'm doing? This will help you make the decisions that truly matter and focus on what will get you where you want to go. Time is short, and death is a reminder that we must live authentically. If these stories didn't touch your heart, maybe it's time to take a pause and reflect on where you're investing your time. Life is short, and the lessons Steve Jobs shared are priceless. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever gone through a moment that seemed like the end, but deep down was the beginning of something incredible? Share it with us in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button, share it, and of course, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. And if you want to continue your learning journey, check out the video in the card or description. It'll inspire you even more.